gamers can micro, macro, and out-strategize their opponents like no one else.
So speaking of strategy and maps, so maps do play an important role in a match. And the first map you mentioned is going to be Loginus. Can you tell the crowd a little bit about this map?
Yeah, definitely. It's a 3-player map. You do not have a small choke. What that means is some of these maps, like we were talking about Lost Temple earlier, there's like a ramp on that map. So you can just put a few zealots or a few marines to block that ramp off. This map actually has a very wide opening, so it's a little bit dangerous. You could get rushed early, so we might see something like that. Also, it's a 3-player map, so they're gonna have to scout. There's a 50% chance they'll find their opponent first. Scouting and finding your opponent on time really, it really helps. It can really help you figure out what he's doing early on, so you can counter it. Also on this map, the highest location on the map is the center. So if you can control the center, kind of like on a game of chess, if you have your pieces on the center of the board, you can dominate the game. So a lot of times you'll see players using their units in the center of the map to kind of abuse the terrain advantage. So we might see some of that, and it's a great map. And also there are 3 expansions on the map that both have 2 gas geysers. Now, there's minerals and there's Vespian gas in StarCraft. Now, Vespian gas is a very valuable resource for Terran and Protoss. Well, it's a very valuable resource for all the races, but we might see players trying to sneak onto those expansions early so they can get those extra gas resources out and produce more units that cost gas.
That sounds great. So what do you think we're going to see? Actually, I'll wait to talk about what we're going to expect to see between the 2 players when the game actually begins.
Well, when I play Longinus, I like to actually go Nexus first against Terran, but I like to do that a lot. I think that you're pretty far away from your opponent, even though you don't have a ramp. If you can do it right, you might be able to get away with it. Although I see a lot of players, a lot of the Koreans I've seen playing seem to go for fast Dragoons because since the entrance is so big, a lot of Terrans will try to wall off with 2 supply depots and a barracks, common StarCraft move, and they'll try to make a command center at their expansion because the ramp is so big, but it's next to the expansion. So we might see them doing that. So normally the Protoss player gets a few Dragoons with the Dragoon range because that really helps a lot. They'll rush up there, they'll start to attack the depots, or try to pick that off, make them waste SCVs. Late game, it's really gonna, like I said before, it's really gonna be kind of a center game, or controlling the center. Terran's going to try to push up onto this high ground. He's going to try to control that, and then he's going to wait for the right moment, and he's going to try to follow that path down and start isolating Nal-Ra's expansions. On the other hand, Nal-Ra is aware of this, so he's probably going to start out with center or top control. He's going to get those Dragoons. I mean, this is just a guess, of course. The game could go anyway, but he's probably going to get those Dragoons, go in there, start attacking those depots, and then he's probably going to pull back and kind of get some center control of the map. And I think...
All right.
Please, God, let this be.
I think he's ready. There's people already clapping because Nal-Ra's now back, sitting in front of his computer, loading up StarCraft.
Look at the man go. Look at him go. He's so fast.
So let's see if he's going to...
is he making the map?
He may have to warm up.
Oh, my God, he made the map. Quick, we got to join.
Are you sure he's not just warming up?
Oh, God. I got to make the game again. Hold on.
Okay.
Nal-Ra tricked me. He's such a deceptive player.
Yeah, I think he's just going to test out his drivers real quick. So
okay. Now, see, as we can see here, this is pretty common. He wants to see if that mouse is working right. He doesn't want to be misclicking. I mean, if you're going that fast, you don't have time. See, he's adjusting the screen speed, the brightness, all that stuff. He wants it to be just like when he's at home in Korea. And speaking of that, these guys, I don't know if everybody here is aware of this, but in Korea, they actually have pro teams where like 20 professional StarCraft players live in like this house, and they have a coach. They have people, they all have to train together. They play for like 10 hours a day and prepare for these tournaments. They master these strategies. I mean, this is why the Koreans are so good. It's not just their DNA that has StarCraft written all over it. It's actually that they are just so disciplined. It's actually turned into a real sport.
The crowd is cheering, and that means Nal-Ra is good to go.
And hopefully he will be joining soon because I am really running out of stuff to talk about up here. But
oh, you can never run out of stuff to talk about. We can talk about all sorts of stuff.
Doesn't matter because Nal-Ra just joined, and he says hi. I'm going to ask him if he's ready.
He says hi.
right. I'm not going to start the game until we make a lot of noise, though.
All right, guys.
Everybody go crazy. All right.
Now we're on Iris.
All right.
The StarCraft, this is the lower bracket finals to determine who will go into the grand finals to face Savior. We have Iris already starting off in the game as yellow. Nowra is orange.
Orange Protoss
orange
over
Protoss.
here. Yeah, yellow Terran at the bottom of the map. So the other starting location, if you guys can follow me on the mini map, would be right here. They may be scouting here if they happen to be unfortunate enough to scout in the wrong location. Okay, so the game has started. Right now, the players, in their minds, they're going through exactly, there's some kind of path they're going to be following with branches on that path, depending on what their opponent, depending on what they see their opponent do. If they see him open in one way, he says, all right, I've got to respond this way. Or maybe, you know, if I get scouted and he sees that I was going to Dark Templar rush, well, then I'll cancel that Citadel before I make the Templar Archives, and maybe I'll go 2-gate Dragoon. So they're going through this path. Nalra putting his first pylon down here. He is, Iris is going to be putting a depot right over here. I'm wondering maybe the location of this depot is actually to spot later on if there's someone's trying to sneak a drop in over here. This is a common strategy on this map. People get a drop ship, or a shuttle, and sneak a few DTs in here. So the positioning even of the buildings matters in a game of StarCraft, and you have to make so many buildings. There's so many things you can do with them. You can wall yourself in. You can use them as spotters for different locations, as Iris is doing. Gateway going down for Nalra. Now, so far, this is what the beginning of every StarCraft game kind of looks like. I mean, when the game first came out, there were a lot of different openers that people were trying to do. People were like, when do I get my pylon? How many probes should I have? But now it always seems like the first few buildings have been whittled down to a science. So they're going to follow this path for now. The question is going to be, when are they going to opt to scout? They're both getting their gas. That's totally common in this matchup because, well, Terran can't use Marines against Protoss. Well,
right.
They can get a few of them at the start, but they can't go Medic Marine.
Well, I took StarCraft 101 with Tasteless this morning, and I know that commonly Terrans now don't go Medic Marine. They like to go Mech. So we're going to see a lot of mechanical units, tanks, Goliaths. So what can we expect to see from the Protoss since you're the Protoss player here?
Well, it's interesting. Even though Protoss is stereotypically the race that's supposed to have the strongest units, they're supposed to be the race that, like, you know, Terran was supposed to be kind of the middleman, and Zerg was supposed to be the one that had the weaker, but, you know, they could produce the units the fastest. In this matchup, Protoss actually plays a little bit more like Zerg. They're going to be the ones expanding ahead of their opponents. They're going to be the ones that are trying to out macro their opponents. It's the burden of the Terran is to get enough siege tanks supported with Vulture Bikes or Goliaths, push out and stop the Protoss from getting these expansions. Now the expansions are located right here, and there's also one right here. So the question is, when are they going to expand? As we can see, Nalra, this is an interesting build. He's going for fast Dragoon range. We can tell because the cybernetic score is spinning, and he's getting the second gateway out here. So that means, kind of like I said earlier, he is probably going to be going for a fast Dragoon rush.
So we're not going to see him expanding as quickly as you mentioned before that most Protoss players play. Scouting has already taken place, so the opponents, they know where their opponents are at right now.
Yes, definitely. And as you can see, Nalra, he doesn't even want to, you don't want to lose a single unit if you're playing a Korean pro gamer. So he came over here, he saw that the Marines were there, he said, whoop, I'm going to back out here. What he's going to do with this, all right, maybe he's going to try to sneak in. No, he's just checking to see if those Marines are here. Iris saw it. He says, get out of my hood, probe. He's chasing him out. But the Dragoon is coming in over here. Now, with the Dragoon range, the Dragoon is going to be very strong against these Marines. So, look, he's microing them back and forth. He used a probe to draw the Marine fire over here. Got one. Shield's going down. He may wait for these next two Dragoons to come over here. Iris now making a bunker over here. Oh, okay. This is so cool. I thought he was going to float that barracks over that so that the Dragoon couldn't target fire the SCV. But instead, he's gonna use this probably to draw Dragoon fire if he places it over here. No, he's gonna land over here. I gotta stop predicting what he's gonna do. All right, so instead we see Nalra getting a lot more Dragoons. Now this is gonna be very dangerous right now. This could be bad. He's gonna get the Dragoon range. Wait, if their upgrade's about to get done, is it done yet? It's gonna get done, and when the upgrade gets done, they're gonna outrange that bunker. So it's only a matter of time, Bunny.
What can Iris do at this point?
He needs to use this tank and cover it with the bunker so that he can actually safely expand. And he has these SCVs ready and everything. Okay, now